Knicks first. 2-0. Initial reactions.
Initial reactions going up 2-0 on the road is impressive. I think the question goes to Boston and what adjustments they can make and what is happening. I think the natural question to ask is their shooting has been down. Like they are historically high volume, high percentage team this season. Last season, it's what they've been able to do. And they're just not hitting these first two games. So one question is, do you just stick with the script, play the way you've been playing all season, and it'll turn back around, or do you make adjustments? New York's ability to battle back from 20 is encouraging, but they cannot continue to find themselves down 20. It's not going to happen every time. 2 times in a row, you pretty much used up a lot of the, that good juju that you can find in a series. Like you're going to have to play really good ball to beat Boston 2 more times.
So some numbers: Celtics 45 missed threes in game 1. We didn't tape after game 1. Tonight, 14 straight missed shots. There's a lot of stuff to go through. Obviously 2 straight 20-point comebacks. When you talk about changing up strategy, do you think they have the personnel to do that? This is a championship personnel, and they've won a very specific way, Missoula ball. But do they have the personnel, especially with what we don't know what we're going to get from Porzingis, to walk into game 3 with a noticeably different strategy?
They have the personnel, I'd say, but I don't think they have the kind of experience with changing their style. Like they have been remarkably consistent in the way they've played for a while now. And they're some of the best at doing it. I just don't think they have that experience in whatever they would change to that you could kind of feel comfortable in predicting the outcome. So if I were in that situation, I would say keep playing the way you've always played, and it's going to turn.
I was looking at this in the fourth quarter tonight when Boston was up 84-68, 99% win probability. They had a version of this in game 1 as well. You're watching these at home. At what point are you seeing these as a reality that this is actually happening?
It's kind of like you see like a little bit of deflation in the Celtics in that point, where maybe a couple missed shots didn't go down, or they're stalling out, taking tough ones. And New York is getting out in transition. And it seems like, down 16 on the road in the fourth quarter or whatever that was, it's easy to kind of panic. And they didn't. They look like the aggressors. They look comfortable in those moments. A large part of that is Brunson's clutch ability. But Mikal, he didn't score until the fourth quarter, then rattles off, boom, 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 boom. You get maybe a down night from OG offensively, but Josh Hart picks up the slack and kind of is there to buffer early. Same with Cat. And then you have to give a lot of credit to them on the defensive end. They were straight up disruptive. You take OG out for a little bit. You have Mitchell Robinson and Cat on the court, and they're moving their feet and they're making it hard. And so you got to give a lot of credit to the way they've been able to execute defensively. And that's really what's kept them in the game, is their ability to just sit down and guard and not let the games get too far out of hand.
I'm going to ask about Mitch in a second. But can we shout out Kale for a second? We're extremely biased. He's one of your closest friends in the world, probably, mine as well. He has gotten a lot of shit this year, which he's acknowledged in the press. He's been amazing, in this playoff run for them. This is just a guy, you've been in these battles with him. This is a guy that's won 2 national championships. He's won everywhere he's gone, and you're seeing this now. And I'm just kind of curious your perspective on it. With bias aside, having played with him and been in these wars with him, seeing that.
Yeah, Kel's a guy you want on your team in the playoffs. He makes winning plays. The stat sheets are one thing. You can say shooting numbers, scoring output, that's one thing, but there's a ton of little things on the court. Time of cuts, defensive rotations, impact on and off the ball defensively, running habits, just being in the right spots. And then also the ability to come back after, kind of not having the offensive game you want to have and hit big shots in the fourth and step up and take big ones. There's maybe 1 or 2 that he missed that he was still willing to step up and take in those moments. So like I said, man, just a guy that you want to have on your team. You can count on him 100% of the time to make winning plays. And then defensively, He's out there 40, 50 minutes last game. He's playing. He's out there. He's out there. He's out there. And he's sitting down and guarding. That's been his thing. That's what he's hung his hat on a lot of his career. And you've seen him come up with 2 big-time plays at the end of each game right now to seal him.
What do you think about the Hack-a-Mitch strategy?
I think it's smart. It's ugly. It looks ugly, but it's effective.
But do you think I thought it was a good adjustment the Knicks made tonight and Tibbs made tonight about basically letting them do that, getting him into the penalty and then just taking him out. I mean, Mitch played great. Yeah. Mitch was awesome tonight, but just in general, it feels like if you're going to do that, you're kind of walking yourself into a trap, whether or not he hits the free throws or not, because you get to a 7 minute mark in the fourth quarter in the penalty.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say do it that late in the game, right? But it's a game of chess. That's what playoffs is. It's a game of chess. How can I make my advantages be as large as possible, and how can I find as many small advantages as possible? And in that one, it can go either way. But you look at it from a possession standpoint, and if he's shooting, if he's a 40% free throw shooter, that points per possession is low, man. And so the more possessions you can keep there, the better. But like you said, then you run into the issue of them getting to the bonus early, and then Brunson is kind of hunting them down. Cat is hunting these fouls down, and then Boston has to kind of change the way they play because they just don't have that buffer room.
Yeah.
So, like I said, bro, it's that chess game that makes the playoffs such great basketball, especially for those of us, and hopefully everybody who's watching that pays close attention.
Here's my question on a macro level mentally, and I'm going to couch this by saying the guys in the Celtics are this is a championship team. This is a team that with 3 gold medalists. It's about as, I would say, mentally tough a group and as sort of experienced a group as you're going to get. So you're probably going to bet on anybody to, either come back or just kind of, weather the storm, so to speak. It's probably these guys. A couple of things. The Celtics were 46-1 with 16-point leads before the last 2 games. The first team in the play-by-play era to lose 2 games while leading by 20-plus points. If you are in a group like this where this is happening twice, it's one thing to have just a bad night where it's like this happens, but it happens twice at home. What is are you just blocking out the noise and being like, I can't wait till Saturday, like fuck everything, like we just need to get out there and play? Like what else, like how else do you respond to this from a pure just morale standpoint?
Yeah, I think the key thing that you mentioned is the championship pedigree. They're battle tested. They're a veteran group. They're a connected group. And they've been doing this, all year and for multiple years now. So with that in mind, I say flush them. It's over. You can't change them. Dwelling on them is not going to change anything. The result is the result. They know that it's not even like they played a good game and lost. It's different when you play a good game like, oh, I don't know what to change. But yeah, you flush it. You move on. You get excited. You go to the Garden, a chance to even up the series. They did it on your home court. You're capable of winning the game. You've kind of had your way with them all season. Now you're in the hole. It's just going to be how you respond. And I would not try to take anything away from them in terms of morale.
Well, it's going to be loud, obviously, on Saturday at MSG, but in a weird way, the Celtics are coming in with nothing to lose.
Right.
This is how it's where the Knicks were Monday night. Like, this is how this goes.
I still think there's a lot of pressure on the Knicks. I don't think two games is a lot of games to win. And a lot of guys have been in that situation where you're up 2-0, you feel good about it. And then all it takes is that, come out anytime a big run in the second quarter, get the game away from them. And then you're finding yourself having to come back again. You can't find yourself down 20 if you're the Knicks again. I don't think it's going to work. I think
so too. And I just think being realistic, I mean, Celtics are 25 for 100 from 3 in the first 2 games. That's not going to continue.
Right.
Like that's what I will say on the flip side of this is the Knicks have not come close to playing an A game yet. I'm fully expecting we're going to get a 40 ball from Cat at some point just because he does it, he does it once a series at least. And so I think what's scary for Boston is it's not like they've come in and played perfect and beat you. They really played like shit in the first 2 halves. Really, first 3 quarters of the night, and so when somebody comes in on the road and steals one like that, that's what's scary because you just know there's going to be a reversion to a mean at some point, in their favor.
On both sides, I think both sides are oddly in a similar position.
With Jalen in particular, we've talked about him a lot. But the degree of difficulty on some of these shots, even going back to Game 6, but in Detroit, but when you have defenders like these guys have, and what they're sort of showing and flashing at him with the doubles and everything like that, and the traps and everything like that, and his ability, basically from a footwork standpoint, to brush everything off. I don't think he's surprising you at this point.
No.
You've seen it. You've been his teammate at USA, seeing it up close, and you've seen it playing against him. But still, just like watching it, your thoughts kind of seeing it in real time, especially on a stage like this. This is the clutch player of the year. This is a guy that's done this in the fourth quarter all season. But still, this feels like a different level.
Yeah, he's just, especially in these fourth quarters, man, he's just rolling to a point where Boston's a very good defensive team, but it just seems like even if his shooting numbers aren't the best, he seems like he's manipulating the game. He's in control. You know what I mean? It's hard to get him sped up. He's getting to his spots to a degree where he's kind of controlling his own controllables. You know what I mean? And it's yielding positive fruit for the Knicks in this, especially in these late game scenarios where when they have guys that step up and keep them in position, he's always able to kind of take it home and close it for them.
Yeah. It's amazing he's able to just, I think about game one with those 2 threes on the stretch where they knew exactly what he was going to do and he's still able to get to it.
It's just calm. Like, it's calm, it's poised, it's an uncanny ability to do those things.